got Coach coming in.
And we welcome you in to the Unrivaled Postgame show as Penn State defeats West Virginia by a 38-15 final score here in the season opener in front of the fourth largest crowd here in Beaver Stadium history, 110,747. And what a great way to start. We're joined by the head coach of the Nittany Lions, James Franklin. Coach, congratulations on the 1-0 start to the season. I know you were excited to see your team play a different opponent instead of going against those ones versus ones throughout camp. What did you learn about your team tonight?
First of all, you've always had a mic for me, so I'm kind of like, I'm a routine guy.
I know.
No mic?
No, we're down to one this year. We're sharing this year.
Right.
I apologize for that. I should have given you a heads up.
Budget cuts. Yeah, obviously it's great to get out and compete against another opponent, a Power 5 opponent. I thought their quarterback was a good player. He's going to cause problems for a lot of guys this year. I thought their O-line played well. And we just weren't as clean in all three areas as you'd like. But I think that's somewhat a common theme in opening games. So something to build on. I'm proud of how we responded in the second half and we were able to get a ton of guys reps.
Is that a good thing as a head coach where you get a lot of positives out of a game, but also you have a lot of teaching moments after week number one?
Yeah, I do. I think there's obviously an opportunity for tremendous growth between game one and game two. And obviously this film will be important for us to build off of that. There's no doubt about it.
Drew goes 21 for 29, 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. It seems like he had a great presence in the pocket as well and used his mobility to his advantage. What did you see from him out there today?
Yeah, very similar to what we saw last year with Drew. He's poised. He's comfortable in the pocket. He can make throws on the run or stepping up in the pocket. And he was able to do that tonight on a consistent basis. So obviously this is big. We can build off of this. You look at the success that he had in the passing game, was able to distribute the ball to a ton of different receivers and playmakers. So it's a positive to build on.
Yeah, 9 different receivers involved in that passing game and still a steady dose of the run game as well. For week one, where did you feel like the offense was at as you sit back and try to evaluate that from the sideline?
I thought we were balanced. Obviously, we had a couple drops that I think, down in the red zone that really could have opened the game up even more. But in general, I thought it was really good. We were able to run the ball. We were able to throw the ball. We got to be a little bit better on third down. There's no doubt about it. Our screen game was effective tonight as well. So there's a lot to build on.
You always talk about situational football, and you're talking about third downs and trying to improve on that on the offensive side. But it seemed like your defense, as that game went on, especially on fourth downs, was able to come up with some big stops.
Yeah, very much so. In the first half, I didn't think we got off the field sometimes. But in the second half, we were able to do it, whether it was third down stops or fourth down stops. That's valuable. But again, I think that quarterback's going to give people problems.
You talk about controllables in week number one, just 1 penalty for 5 yards. There were no turnovers. And I thought Saunders made a great opportunity to come up and make a fair catch on a ball that saved valuable field position, where some of those small details, your team was pretty good for the first week of the season.
Yeah, and in traffic, as a first-year punt returner, that's not easy to do with guys all around you. So that was something really to build on. There's no doubt about it. So the penalty thing is a good one. That shows a disciplined football team, so I'm proud of that.
And that ended up leading to that score that made it a 2-score game. How important was it eventually to stretch that from 1 score to 2 scores for your football team?
Yeah, obviously, we wanted to do that. And then at the end, that last touchdown was against, our backups. We had all of our 2s and 3s in there. And obviously, we don't want to give up points, but the time of those guys playing on the field is really valuable. And then obviously to get our 2 offense to go in there and score a touchdown was big from a confidence standpoint too.
Coach, 110,000 plus here tonight, the 4th largest crowd in Beaver Stadium history. To be back here with these fans in this environment to start the season, what was it like being back here in Beaver Stadium tonight?
Yeah, it's special, and we don't take it for granted. We're talking about one of the best environments in all of college football, and we don't take that for granted one bit.
Coach, really appreciate the time. Congrats. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Penn State head coach James Franklin with us here postgame as the Nittany Lions defeat West Virginia by a 38-15 final score. Again, in front of 110,747 here tonight. You get a look at Beaver Stadium. It's cleared out now, but man, this place was absolutely rocking tonight. Penn State, 478 total yards. Let's look at some of the offensive and defensive stats to highlight from tonight's game. Drew Aller, 21 for 29. 325 passing yards and 3 touchdowns. Nicholas Singleton and Katron Allen, 137 combined total yards. Singleton had that touchdown run back in the second quarter out of that T formation. Keandre Lambert-Smith, big game in the passing game. You saw his receptions, 4 touchdowns, 4 receptions, 123 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. And then Trey Wallace, Harrison Wallace III, was the leading receiver with 7 receptions on 72 yards and 8 targets in the game. Then on the defensive side of the football, we're going to talk to Curtis Jacobs here in just a couple of moments. 10 tackles, 7 of those solo tackles, 1 sack, and a tackle for loss. Kobe King with 5 tackles in tonight's game, 2 solo tackles. Cam Miller, 4 tackles, 4 of those, all of them solo, and a tackle for loss. And that Penn State defense came up in a really big spot. 11 for 14 on third down attempts. So the Penn State defense coming up with big stops when they needed it here on the defensive side of the football, as we just talked about with Coach Franklin moments ago. So there is a live look at Beaver Stadium. It has cleared out now, and Sal Wormley's going to come in here and join us. He's going to hop in on set to talk some offense, and the Penn State offense tonight, again, 478 total yards in week number 1. And Sal, your offensive line did a great job of establishing the line of scrimmage against West Virginia, especially it felt like as the game went on. Where did you feel like your offense was at here in the first week of the season?
I felt like we was on point. You know, O-line communicating well, Drew Allard making adjustments needed that we can't see, but, you know, him being the QB, he can see the whole field. So I feel like just as a unit, we communicated extremely well and we executed.
You mentioned Drew making his first career start, and you know what it's like to play in big environments. Granted, this is an environment where everyone's here on your side. How do you think he handled the moment tonight?
I think he did well. I always knew he was going to be fine and poised because that's just how he is. So I never had a thought in my mind that he was going to be shaken by the noise.
And your offense seemed to be firing on all cylinders, 332 passing yards, 146 rushing yards. There's Keandre Lambert-Smith sliding down with his second touchdown in the back of the end zone. Where did you feel like the offense was able to come up with the big plays, especially when you needed it tonight? It seemed like you were able to do it from a bunch of different areas.
It's just when you're able to run the ball effectively, that opens up other doors for us to do. You know, after we run the ball, now they got to worry about that. So now we can fake it, throw it, or just straight up throw it if we need to be honest, because we got Drew Allard back there. So, I mean, just with our personnel, the talent that we got on this team, bro, we can really do anything we want.
How much do you like running that T formation?
That T formation is fun. That is very fun, yeah.
That looks like an offensive lineman's dream because you know you're running the football most likely out of that.
Yeah, it's just, once we get in that formation, it's really just mano, man on man. You're either going to do your job or you're not, so it's simple.
I got the sense throughout camp leading into this opening week that you have a team that is full of strong leadership and you're confident but not cocky. Do you feel like this is a group that really has that strong brotherhood and you've sensed that then carry over onto the field tonight from what you saw the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, you know, past years I've been here, we always had 1 or 2 guys that were, you know, the vocal leaders on the team. But this year it's a little different. You know, we're all just together and we're all just making the standard and everybody's abiding by it. It's not really just one guy speaking up all the time. It's just everybody just doing what they need to do and everything is going great.
And just because it's different, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. What's the meal tonight after the game? You have to tell Sal. Couple meals, maybe.
Hey, I got my mom. I think she got some mac and cheese, a little steak, some chicken, maybe a little sweet. I gotta wait till I get home. You got me. I'm hungry already. I can't be talking about that right now.
So I guess that's the appropriate way to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Hey, Sal, congrats on a great win tonight. Yep. Sal Wormley joining us here on our set. He's going to head on out. 38-15, the final in our new studio here inside Beaver Stadium, just outside the South Tunnel. And now we are going to continue to break down this win for the Nittany Lions in front of 110,747 in the house here tonight at Beaver Stadium. And we're going to have Keandre Lambert-Smith slide up on in here. You're going to be on camera in just a second, my friend. Camera's right there. It's over there in the dark. He's going to throw his headphones down, throw that backpack down, and Keandre Lambert-Smith, who had 2 receiving touchdowns tonight in the Week 1 win, is with us now here on our Unrivaled postgame show. This is exclusive live access that you don't get anyone. You're cheesing after week number 1.
Yeah. All smiles after that win. Big time win. Enjoy it tonight and move on to the next.
How did it feel first, before we even get into the game? We're going to watch back some of the plays, have you break down those plays, the scoring plays for us. Number 1, to get back on the field and finally go against somebody else, because you guys are going against that great secondary your own team has in practice every day.
Nah, it felt good. Like I've been saying, I go against the best guys in the country, Johnny, Kalen, Cam, and the rest of the whole DB room and as a whole. And those guys prepare me for games like this and more to come. And, I appreciate, I was just talking to Johnny in the locker room on the sideline. He like, I told you, like, this is what we do. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm like, about time we ain't going against y'all no more. Like, it's time for me to be on somebody else. But it was a nice game. I ain't going to enjoy it tonight, soak it in, and like I said, we're moving on to the next one.
Where do you feel like you were at coming into the season, building on what was a really strong Rose Bowl performance, I know, and where you were able to improve during the offseason? Were you happy with the strides you made, and where do you feel like that carried over onto the football field?
It was nice for me mentally ending the season on that note, but, that still was nothing up to my standard of myself. So, I hit the offseason hard, building that chemistry with Drew, the wideouts as a whole, doing that. And I feel like it's paying off, and it's clear to see that. This is just the beginning, week one. A lot of guys made plays, credit to the O-line, credit to running backs, everybody. I feel like it was a great performance, but it was just scratching the surface of what we can really do.
All right, Uno, let's look at those. You talked about that chemistry with Drew. We're going to watch your scoring highlights back here. You take us through these plays.
All right, bro.
Stepping up in the pocket.
This was the play by Drew. He scrambling, kept his eyes up. And I didn't even know that guy was that close to me. But, I'm just jogging a little bit, had to walk in. Students actually going crazy.
Look at this pocket presence. That's pretty impressive for a first-time starter.
No, that's what I'm saying. Drew, we seen flashes of this last year. Just keeping his eyes up, making plays.
And then here is your other touchdown. Back of the end zone, just came all the way across, and this time he just floated it back there for you.
Yeah, that was nice. I kind of, almost hurt my hip on that one. But it was nice. It was nice. I enjoyed every moment of it, I'm not going to lie.
What's it like getting into the end zone here at Beaver Stadium? We see you celebrating with your teammates. There's Olu coming over in that student section right there.
It's electric. Like, honestly, I never even can take it all. I'm sorry, I'm watching the play. I never can take it all in. Like, I don't even look at the student section. I don't even look at fans. I just be ready to celebrate with the guys. And then it's funny you said that. Like, when Olu threw me up the second time, I went to the sideline. I was like, after the first one, I told myself, next time I get thrown in the air, I'm going to look at the stadium. But I just stared at Olu the whole time, and I did it twice. But I'm going to take it in more. We got Delaware next week. I'm going to enjoy the crowd. We got a crazy student section.
I saw your celebration with Trey Wallace over there. The handshake, how many handshakes do you have?
We got a lot, but I'm not going to lie. We've been practicing that one for about all spring, all camp, and we finally, we knew we was going to hit in the game. Whether he scored, I scored. We was waiting for either one to score to hit that celly, so we got it on the TV.
You're practicing the handshakes and the football.
Yeah.
This is a close team. What makes this team so close?
Well, I can also give a little credit to Coach Hagan's, just the bond, the chemistry he tried to instill in the wideouts, and we're taking that advice and, getting up on the off days, just hanging with each other more and building that bond that, ultimately correlates to the field and the way we play for each other. And I love the room. Like, I'm not going to lie. I didn't get a vibe like this the last 3 years necessarily. And the room is definitely in a tighter spot. And, we're more bonded together.
Well, this has been a very one-sided broadcast so far. We had Sal and yourself talking offense. We got Curtis Jacobs in here and talk some defense. Keandre, congrats.
Appreciate that.
Keandre Lambert-Smith, get ahead on how Curtis Jacobs is going to come on in as the Nittany Lions defeat West Virginia 38-15. Unbelievable night here, 110,000 plus. Perfect weather to open up the season. And now we will talk about the defensive side of the football with linebacker Curtis Jacobs as Penn State defeats West Virginia by a 38-15 final. And Kurt, we started talking with Coach Franklin about what their quarterback Green could do with his mobility. What challenge did that present, and how did your defense adapt and adjust throughout the course of the game?
Well, he was a great player. A lot of time he was getting out of there and making plays with his feet. We just had to rally to it. That's obviously something we game planned for. We knew he was an athletic guy. We knew he could make plays with his feet. So we just had to play violent and just finish the whistle, and rally to him.
And it seemed like your team was very sure tackling, especially in the open field tonight. And whether it was from the linebacker position, you've got some defensive backs that can come up and play like linebackers as well. What's it like, that whole group that you have there in the defensive backfield?
Well, we work angle tackle and all of that live tackling and stuff pretty much every day. So it's just good to see our work shown early in the season. A lot of the time, early games like this is when stuff like that shows up, and we're not able to make those tackles. But it was great. It was a great job by everyone.
And you played with that aggressive mindset. You can see that here tonight. A couple of big third down stops and fourth down stops in big situations. What was the key to coming up with the big plays when you needed it on the defensive side of the football?
Just everybody doing their job when we needed it. That's the most important part. That's what we base our defense off. That's our standard. Do your job every play, and 6 seconds at a time, and I feel like we did that to a great level tonight. Obviously, there's stuff we need to clean up, but I think we did that to a great job.
Is that the good thing to go through a week one? You play a solid game, you win 38-15 against a Power 5 opponent and a good opponent in West Virginia, but there's also stuff. As a veteran now, you probably are like, hey, we can still improve. Coach said, yeah, that's exactly what I want as a head coach. But as a player, that's got to resonate in the locker room as well.
It's what we need to do to get where we want to go. We have to look at games like this and be very critical of ourselves as if we lost the game. And I know that sounds harsh, but it's just the reality of it. We always got to work and claw and scratch to get better every day.
Well, you didn't lose this game. You won it 38-15. Kurt, congrats on the victory in week number 1. Team's 1-0. Congrats on a great start to the season.
Thank you.
Curtis Jacobs joining us here on our Unrivaled postgame show. 38-15 the final score. Penn State defeats West Virginia in front of 110,000 plus tonight here at Beaver Stadium. So we gave you the stats from tonight's game. Let's go back through our full game highlights to wrap this thing up. What an atmosphere. 110,747. Perfect weather, 80 degrees around kickoff. And it was the helmet stripe game. Everyone wearing white except a couple of sections. And who wouldn't want to come back? Saquon Barkley, Jahan Dotson, Micah Parsons in the house. Manny Diaz in that Penn State defense getting fired up. Mike Yurcich was up in the booth today. And there's James Franklin, the head coach of the Nittany Lions, leading them out the tunnel. No better entrance in all of college sports than when Penn State opens those gates and takes the field here at Beaver Stadium. Nittany Lions' first offensive possession. They got to stop. Drew Aller goes deep down the field, steps up in the pocket. We just saw it a couple of times. Finds Keandre Lambert-Smith, 72 yards for the Penn State touchdown. Place absolutely going nuts, and Penn State opens up a 7-0 lead, 10:13 to play in the opening quarter. There you see it again. Aller steps up in the pocket, finds Lambert-Smith, gets behind the defense, no one around, and Penn State takes a 7-0 lead. Penn State handled adversity well in this game. C.J. Donaldson would score for West Virginia. The Mountaineers go down, start the second quarter by scoring a touchdown, tie the game at 7, and then after that, Penn State would respond. Next possession, 7-7 ball game. Aller again showing his mobility, really moved well outside the pocket, finds Lambert-Smith coming over the middle, and then across the sideline. Lambert-Smith down the sideline, sets up Penn State inside the red zone. Malik McLean had a nice game. We'll see his first touchdown later on, but here's the T formation on 1st and goal. Nicholas Singleton into the end zone for the first time this year. He takes it in from 2 yards out, and Penn State opens up a 14-7 lead. We said the defense had to come up with some big stops in critical situations here tonight. There's a 4th down for West Virginia, trying to be aggressive at midfield. The defense comes up with a stop. Here's a 3rd and 6. Penn State, once again, end of the half, trying to get that opportunity to score. A couple of missed field goals in the opening half, but Curtis Jacobs and the defense came up with the play. So second half we go. Nittany Lions with the football. Nicholas Singleton on the ground. This is longest run of the night, 14 yards, sets up Penn State inside the 30-yard line. And here on a 2nd down and 8, Aller goes back, and Aller slings it to the outside. Harrison Wallace, the team's leading receiver tonight, one of his 7 catches for 72 yards, sets up Penn State inside the red zone, trying to extend this. They had a couple of tries, getting it to 2 scores. Then Aller Lambert-Smith, beautiful touch, wipes out at the end. He scores, and Penn State takes a 21-7 lead. 2:58 to go, 3rd quarter. Green under pressure again on a critical 4th down. Penn State's defense comes up with the stop. Alex Felkins then, next possession to start the 4th quarter, extends the lead 24-7. Penn State goes up by 3 scores. 4th quarter, 11:54 to play. West Virginia 2nd and 3 near midfield, and then the defense started to really punish at the line of scrimmage. You can see Penn State at the line of scrimmage, including on this 4th down play here, getting better and better as the game went on. Great pressure. Johnny Dixon, Abdul Carter clean it up, and Penn State takes over on downs 24-7. 7:40 to play here on a 3rd down and 6. Looking for the dagger. Malik McLean transfer scores his first Penn State touchdown. He finds the end zone 25 yards from Drew Aller. Aller completes his night with 3 touchdown passes. Aller here in the football game, 21 of 29, 325 yards and 3 touchdowns. Passes to 9 different receivers. West Virginia Green would score. Again, he's going to have a great year. We just heard Coach Franklin talk about that moments ago. West Virginia scores there. They go for 2, convert on the 2-point conversion, 31-15, but an opportunity for a home state kid. Drew Aller exits the game. Bo Perbula comes in. Here's a 3rd and 10, keeps the drive alive, runs it down, and then final seconds of the game on a 2nd and goal. Perbula into the end zone for his first career touchdown. The kid from York scores, and Penn State wins it. Fireworks going off on an electric night at Beaver Stadium. 38-15 our final score here tonight. So the Nittany Lions improved to 1-0 on the season, back at home again next Saturday at noon, taking on Delaware. We'll have your Unrivaled weekly preview show coming up for you on Wednesday. We'll also have the Unrivaled post-game show for you next week. Man, what an electric night. There's the scene at Beaver Stadium live right now. Beautiful weather. Hopefully that weather continues throughout the course of this 2023 season. But 7th-ranked Penn State defeats West Virginia and improves to 1-0 on the season. First meeting between these two teams since 1992. First time the Mountaineers were here at Beaver Stadium since 1991. So great work by our entire crew here on the Unrivaled post-game show. Thanks again to our producer, director, Mr. Do-It-All, Ross Woomer, for his great work. And of course, our guests here tonight, including head coach James Franklin. This is exclusive coverage. You don't get it anywhere else behind the scenes, right off the field, right when the team comes out of the locker room after the game here on the Unrivaled post-game show. We'll talk to you next week as Penn State gets set to take on Delaware in week number 2. Again, our final, 38-15. Nittany Lions win it. I'm Brian Tripp saying so long from Beaver Stadium.